Not working a 9 to 5 where you're getting paid every week, every couple of weeks, every month. I had a few good sponsors, but the fight's off, so the sponsors are on hold. You've got a payday there, and it's taken away from you. Coming up to a year where you've had nothing coming in, not a penny from boxing.
Just put, yeah. Is the light on?
Green.
Yeah.
It's green.
So here we are, green. Wow. Grey sweatshorts. Anyway,
Don't.
sorry, you know what I'm like. I'm happy to be joined once again by Birmingham's very own heavyweight Solomon Dacres. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has.
We were supposed to catch up before. He was there set to fight Jared Anderson. I was like, gonna come down, film the camp.
Yeah.
Let's get going. And all of a sudden, the fight flops. I'm like, here we go again.
Flops.
Your point of view, really?
I couldn't really say. I was just gutted. Obviously, at that fight, I've trained hard. Did a lot of sparring, been around sparring top guys. Did a lot of sparring with Dubois in the early camp. Obviously, that was his card. A lot of sparring with Dubois. You know, got around, done a good bit of sparring. Pat Brown. I went to Mallorca to spar a good Cuban for the week as well. So I had some good sparring. I was just on it, you know, putting everything into it. And then obviously a few weeks before, same man's out and apparently injured. But I don't know. I've not seen nothing about no injury. So who knows what's going on.
You know, when you're getting ready for these camps, and it's one of the questions that I haven't asked you, but I do hear fighters speak about it quite often. There's a lot of money involved in training. Now, for the untamed eye, the fans like myself, it's not even something that we've even spoke about off camera, to be fair. What kind of costs can a fighter incur? And let's say, for example, it's a good 8-week camp. What kind of costs can you incur for training?
Well, the big one is sparring. Obviously, that's what I got around sparring a lot of the top guys. So, you know, that's not really a cost to me. But then when you want to bring guys to your gym, because, you know, when you're in your own camp, you don't want to be going everywhere else. You got to bring guys to your gym, and that's a cost. So you got sparring partners coming in, and, you know, you got to pay them to get the work in, you know what I mean? So that's a big one. And then just obviously over all your training, everything that goes into training, just your daily life. You got to remember, you're not working a 9 to 5 where you're getting paid every week, every couple of weeks, every month. You got to fight 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and yet since you haven't fought, you're not got nothing. So you've got to live off what you've got from the last fight. It's not like you're getting paid up front. Here's your money. Live off that until you fight. You've got nothing until you've done the job. Then you're getting sort of like being reimbursed afterwards. So it's hard, and then obviously that's where sponsors come in, and even with this one, like, you know, if you haven't got monthly sponsors, I had a few good sponsors, but the fight's off, so the sponsors are on hold. Then so that's money on hold that you ain't got. So, and you're just trying to, like, you know, live off what you got from last fight. It's not an ideal situation, you know, when you've got a payday there and it's taken away from you. You know, it's a bit gut wrenching, really. But you just gotta, you know, this is boxing, and you gotta just keep your head down, stay in the gym, stay on the grind, and hope for better days.
Yeah, you've got to be really good with your money.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
And some people that aren't good with their money would really struggle, because it's kind of like you're spending the money before you've got it, because you're counting on that being there, and you just can't do that in boxing.
With me, if I wasn't quite smart with my money, you know, I haven't made loads out of boxing yet, but, you know, I've got enough to get by. But if I haven't fought since last year, and even before that was 10 months. So, you know, 2 fights, you know, 10 months apart. If I hadn't, like, really put my money to the side, right now I probably wouldn't have anything. I'm just, you know, it's a good job I did, because I've got a bit to I'm just, you know, surviving, really. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have nothing. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to stay in the gym full time. I'd have to do something else. But you got to be smart with your money, because, like I said, if I had that fight, I'm nice. You know what I mean? To the next one, because that falls through. So that's all that time, 1 year, or coming up to a year, where you've had nothing coming in, not a penny from boxing.
How do you deal with that emotionally? Because I know you are quite regimented. I see that by the way that you train. You're very routine led, almost like you've come out of the army and gone into boxing. You're very regimented in the way that you are. but like, okay, emotionally dealing with like the financial, because it is a loss, because you sort of like trained for a job, you're supposed to go and perform, then you get paid. It's like you're doing all of that and not getting paid at the end of it because there is no fight. So like mentally, emotionally, how do you deal with that?
With me, I just you know, it's not easy, but you know, you've just got to put the faith in what the work you're doing, to be honest. And just sometimes I look back in the amateurs, I realise I was never getting a penny from boxing in the amateurs. I ain't got loads, but I've survived on less. So I've survived on less, and I've also had more. So you know, I've got to just get on with it and know that, you know, it's gonna come anyway. But yeah, you know, like you know, you do have your ups and downs. You know, you think, fuck, I ain't get paid now, and when's the next fight going to be rescheduled? You know, I've got a daughter who's just turning 1 next week, and you know, you got to provide for your family. And like you say, it's not a job where you can work and get the immediate rewards. You work and work and work for months, and then the payments taken away from you anyway. You don't get nothing for it. But like I said, this is a career. I've just got to hope, you know, keep my hopes there, my prayers that, you know, I'll get it.
Yeah, I do admire your tenacity, because one of the things that you did do straight away was like, okay, obviously Lawrence Okoli had a, you know, positive test, so he was taken out of it. So then Tony Yoka was like wandering around free, and then you were wandering around free because of obviously Jared Anderson and his injury, and it was like both of you were like online. Okay, there's a fight weekend coming up. Let's have it. Let's fight each other. Yeah, it makes both sense. We're both left on an island. Bring us together and let's have it. And then that didn't happen either.
That didn't happen, yeah. That didn't happen. And obviously he's got a fight scheduled with Gassiev. So maybe they thought we've got other options here where we don't want to go in with Salt, and it's a bit of a banana skin. We've got other options maybe. I don't know. It could have been anything.
Doesn't that piss...
But, you know,
I'm going to speak quite frankly now. Doesn't that piss you off? Because, oh, yeah, you know, he's got other option. Don't want to put him in. Why are you, like, talking about yourself like you're not the option?
Yeah, I know, but that's it. For me, it is, but I don't... Sometimes I don't know, man. This is just how it works, you know, when some people got a bit more favour behind them in other things, you know, might get the favour. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's hard, but I just gotta fucking keep going and stamping my mark down, like, and just get active. That's the main thing. I want to be active, and I just want to have a run of fights. Yeah, I could 2-3 fights where, boom, Solomon Dacres is that man there. That's there, like, you know what I mean, serious. You know, my last one was a good one that put me to like there, and then I just, you know, couple more, boom, boom, I'm there. And I just want to take those steps, you know what I mean? And sometimes things are out of your control. I did have the bicep tear, you know, after the fight. It put me back a bit, but I've been recovered from that. I've been able to fight for months. Like you said, I was scheduled to fight, but unfortunately that got cancelled. So it's a bit higgledy-piggledy.
Higgledy-piggledy, that's one word for it. Do you know what's happening, or is there anything potentially in the pipeline for you coming out again soon? Because like you said, activity, responsibilities, it's all there.
Yeah, well, you know, what I'm hearing is, like, you know, it could be August time. I also heard could have been July, August. So this is how it goes sometimes, that you don't know. So I've just got to, like, get in the gym, and I've just got to get myself into good shape where you never know, something could come up in a few weeks or whatever. You know, I was training for a long time for that fight. When I knew, like, I was still, even when they said it was off, I was still training like I was going to fight the next week, until they said definitely there's no, like, because obviously I said I'll step in with Yoka, whatever. Until they said there's definitely no chance fighting on that card. Then you've got to have a little breather, because you got to have a bit of a rest, because it's not though. Sometimes the fighter takes it out. Yeah, it's the training camp, and you can't just go from training camp for like 3 months. Well, I've been training for like 6 months. You know what I mean? To just never resting and then go on, you just burn yourself out. So you have to have a couple of days rest, get back in the gym, freshen up again, and just build it back up again.
I was speaking to Troy Williamson, and that's kind of why I've diverted that way. Troy Williamson had his fight with Callum Simpson, and he won.
Yeah.
Then Callum Simpson had an injury that he was scheduled for a rematch. It's there, it's contracted. But Callum Simpson had an injury, so Troy's thinking, well, I need to fight. I want to fight. I want to keep active.
Yeah.
Higgledy-piggledy. And then he ends up being on, allegedly, the Fury Makhmadov card.
Yeah.
Fight sorted, names on the poster, whoopity-woo. And then it's like, you can't fight on that. You've got to do this rematch. But he's like, I'm not saying I ain't going to do the rematch. I'm saying, let me have this fight in between. I've got 2 young children at home.
Yeah.
Just let me have this fight. Of course I'm going to still fight him. No, you're not. You signed in to this rematch, and that's exactly what you're going to do. Fair enough. He's also now waiting until August, but the fight is on. But that was his frustration, and I thought there's a little bit of a similarity there within the waiting periods of training and
it's brutal
money.
pro boxing, because sometimes like you say, like you're ready to go, and you just can't. It's not up to you. It's just these managers or promoters or whatever's set out. You can't sometimes do what you want to do, which is get out there, provide for your family, and sometimes you are denied it, or you got to wait and delayed, this, that, and the other. Which is the one thing with pro boxing, is that you can't really control it yourself. You can't dictate when you want to fight, and sometimes, like you say, it depends who's got the favour here and there. They might look after a certain man and want this, that, and the other, and it's not in your control. But it's just the way pro boxing is, unfortunately.
I know you are a Queensbury fighter. Obviously, we've got Zuffa, sorry. I need to make sure I pronounce that properly. So
I've been saying Zuffa, man.
No, it's Zuffa.
It's got 2 F's in it.
Yeah, but that's why I thought it was Zuffa,
Yeah,
but it's Zuffa.
It's Zuffa.
Zuffa boxer, yeah. That's how they pronounce it. Obviously, you've seen them. They had Jack Massey, Chev Clark, former matchroom fighter, Sam Hickey, boxer fighter, Jack Massey, CBS, boxer fighters. There's a new force that's coming in. I've watched the press conferences with Dana White say, listen, I'm taking all of the fighters. Yeah. I'm not competing with any promoter in boxing. I'm competing with the NFL. So he's already kind of putting himself out of reach. Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that as a fighter that has moved around promotional companies?
Listen, if they're paying,
I'm staying.
Yeah, you're staying. If they ain't paying, you ain't staying. You get me? At the end of the day, it's about money. If you're not getting fights or you're not getting the money, you know what I mean? This is a short career. Obviously, you can have your pride a bit, and obviously, like, if it's a hard one. If you go to that Zuffa, and they're saying you can't be, in the IBF, WB, or WBC rankings.
Are you bothered about that?
It kind of will, because the history of boxing, that's your dream, to become a world champion, innit? You know what I mean? It is a big thing. But at the other end, if you ain't getting that opportunity anyway, and these men are paying you to fight, you got to fight, you got to do what you got to do, ain't you? So, like I said, man, money talks, bullshit walks.
It is one of them. So listen, I'm going to ask for your prediction. We've got a couple of fights coming up. Obviously, Joshua's fighting Prenga. Don't know who Fury's having as his warm-up fight. And them two, they're on a collision course to fight. But before I ask you about your predictions on that, may I have your predictions on the second fight that's going to come up later on this year between Daniel Dubois, 2-time world champion, and Fabio Wardley? Because, boy, I predicted that wrong.
I didn't. I thought Dubois would win. I thought if he sticks with the boxing, he's going to jab his head off and do what he did, really. I knew that he got the boxing ban, and I knew this jab would cause damage. Surprised I took the rematch, but also in the same breath, Wardley's probably thinking, I got nothing to do. I've already been beat. I might as well try it. If I'm gonna go out at a lesser level and potentially get beat again, I might as well go back in at the world title level. Because if I get beat there again, it's nothing I ain't already lost, and I'm just a rung below it. Then I can go. But if he goes down, loses, he goes down like double. It's like a double whammy. You know what I mean? At least if he rematches, he's still got something to come back to. But it was a damaging fight, man. I was watching it and I was just thinking, this is just some brain damage fight. Because I know the boy's strong, he's got the jab. Wardley was just he clipped him early, flash kind of knockdown, but there was no boxing going on from him. There was no building out anything. It was just like, I'm gonna try and do you with the right hand, and if not, then I just whatever, man. Like, it was a bit, I was watching it, I was there, and I was just thinking, when Dubois just used his footwork, because he has got better footwork than you think, and the rhythm, and used the jab, it was like target practice. And it was just like, the whole thing is, it's just waiting. Will Wardley catch him? That's it. Could he catch him? But in between all of that, where could he catch him? Can he not catch him? Dubois just busting him up like in between. It's kind of like with Wardley, it's kind of like you get knocked down, or there's just not much else going on really.
Yeah, it was a great fight. We can talk about stoppages another day, but you got the W. They're going back in it again, and I do agree with you. If he goes down and he loses again, then it's the double build-up. I think that's a spot-on analogy. The way to say he's got nothing to lose. Probably the best analogy I've heard. Why he's taking that fight. And finally, we've got Joshua finally coming together, allegedly, with Tyson Fury. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. But when you look at the skill base of both fighters, how do you see that turning out?
It's interesting because things get different when you get to the later stages in their careers, you know what I mean? But they're both at the later stage. You'd say Fury is the better boxer, boxer mover, you'd say Joshua's got the more power. Fury's been down. He might go down in that fight. He's got back up before. Joshua hasn't fought competitive really fights since Dubois, which was a heavy loss. So he's going to need this tune-up fight, but I don't know how competitive that's going to be either. To be honest, Fury's had a bit more of a... Makhmudov is limited, but he's a lively, contender. So it's different. It's just going to see how things play out in there. There might be a bit more needed. I think he's going to want to hurt Fury. It's been a long time coming, but Fury's got his wits about him. Just be interesting to see how it plans out, to be honest, at this stage, to see what's going on. I think Fury's been a bit better more recently. He's been a bit more high level. He's obviously had the 2 losses, very close losses to Usyk, and that's it really, isn't it? So just have to wait and see, man. I hate predicting fights.
Oh no, you've always said that, to be fair.
Because you know what it is, anything can happen heavyweight boxing. Fury could be winning 10 rounds and then you get caught. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, if it is in the USA and it's not in the UK,
then that's a travesty, and it really.
It is.
Fight should be in the UK.
It should be, but it might not be. I'm going to try and tap you up to see if you'll jump on a live with me, so we can break it down as the fight's going on. Yeah. If that's something that you'd be interested in, because I know you like your tea and biscuits and your weekends to yourself. But also, if I could drag you out to come and do that live with me, potentially. Listen, guys, if you can, especially those from Birmingham, I need you to get behind Solomon Dacres, support him, support his journey. He's one of these fighters that have definitely not had it easy. It's been up and down, injury, whether it's him or whether it's his opponents, whether opponents not wanting to fight him. But I think we need to get behind him so we can have a little bit of a more of a loud voice for support. Because one of the things that he's mentioned here is favour. Now, if people talk about people are out there, they potentially could get that favour, but if there's no noise, you're almost forgotten.
It's true, and that's where I'm lacking. I don't make much noise. I just do talking in the ring. But the current day and age and the modern market, as you see now, misfits and stuff like that, you're getting misfits fighters, and people are just viewing it the same as if it's just boxing. Maybe I was born in the wrong era, but
Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it will go, I don't know, a 180 and come back to the era that you like to be in.
Yeah, man.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Solomon Dacres.
Thank you very much.